All right. So, based upon everything that I've put together from the timeline of when they called the police and everything and what they did, based upon what Sarah said, okay, this is what's wrong. But I put together some things. Now, on February the 23rd of 2020, let me take the banner off here that I've got up so you can see this. The majority of the phone calls during the day that were placed and received were to Brian Boone, starting at 11:52 hours. So 11:52 a.m. And they continued until 9:20 hours, 7:20 p.m. Now, just because I said majority of the calls, I mean, it could have been 3, it could have been 4, I don't know. But I found it really interesting that she was calling him so much. Also, at 12:17 p.m., we have a Publix receipt that says that they were at the Publix buying wine. And we've heard that Sarah and George both went and bought wine at 12:17 p.m. I don't know why she's left that out. Because again, at 5:39 p.m., we have another receipt that shows that they went back, and according to what we know on the Publix video surveillance is that he was by himself at that point. So it's like she started telling the story around 5 p.m. and left out the rest of it. At 7:24, George called his daughter, Cookie. This is based upon the police report, you guys, that I received and the timetables from her cell phone. At 7:25 p.m., George called his other daughter. So Cookie may not have answered at first. At 7:30 p.m., he calls Juan Torrez and speaks to him, and they actually put him on speakerphone. That call lasted 4 minutes and 6 seconds. At 8 p.m., at 8 p.m., George tried calling both daughters again because he didn't get them the first time. And Sarah was screaming about, get off the phone, when he was on the phone with Juan because she wanted to call her brother. But what I found very interesting is that she never did call her brother. Never did. Okay, what do we have here? We got, I believe Sarah didn't remember the video and didn't delete it, but has that been confirmed? I never thought about, thank you for your super sticker, aka the cat lady. I never thought about the fact that she had deleted it until today, honestly. I'm going to be honest with you. I felt that she had just totally forgotten it was there because she was so intoxicated. But then somebody wrote in the chat today that they thought, what if she deleted it? And they found it after the forensic unit got in there. And it could be. But it's going to make her look even worse if they find out that she deleted it. It's going to look even better for the prosecution. So I don't care if she did delete it. It doesn't matter. We found it. It's there. So 8 p.m., George tried calling both of his daughters again. 10:30 to 11:15, Vincent and Brandon hear the banging going down the stairs. Let's listen to Vincent's testimony, you guys.
Hours. I am located at the Tealwood apartment complex at, what's the building number? 474 Tealwood apartment complex. I am talking to the resident of one of the residents. Sir, can you give me your name, please?
It's Vincent.
And what's your date of birth, sir?
1999.
All right, is it okay if I call you Vincent?
Of course.
Okay, well, like I said, my name's Scott Lowen. I'm the homicide detective with the Sheriff's Office. Please just call me Scott. Obviously, we're out here today talking about an incident that occurred with the residents of Apartment 3, which are your direct next-door neighbors, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to kind of preface and start out with a couple of different basic questions. How long have you been living in apartment?
The end of January was a year, so about a year and a month.
Year and a month?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And your apartment, from what I can see, is a single-story apartment. It's not a townhome like your neighbors, correct?
Yes, no, it's a single story, yeah.
Okay. Is your bedroom the one in the back, next to the back wall?
Yeah, it's the one where you can see the kick out from the back patio of their apartment there, yeah.
That's what I was wondering. So your bedroom is right next to their back patio?
Yes.
So you get to hear everything that's going on in the back patio, or is it
on the back
airtight?
patio and the living room, because their living room at the bottom of their stairs is right next to where my head lays on my bed.
Okay.
So literally, and it was like an every night thing. you know, with the beat, and it wasn't even just him on her. It was like they were going at it, like at each other, you know. And it was
really?
like it was just really bad and really loud, like every night.
Was it
you know?
verbally?
No, like physically. Yeah, it was like.
So what were you hearing?
It was like, I don't like, you know, it was never like I couldn't physically hear like hitting, you know what I mean? But like I heard like getting thrown up against the wall, you know, or like I've heard thrown down the stairs a few times. Like it's just and it's like that's a very clear sound, you know what I mean? Like you hear somebody up here get down here very fast, you know, and it's like you just kind of know what happened. And it's like, and the reason that like I've never said anything about it, or I was just kind of minding my own business, is because I literally found out that this happened so often, and they were known by the local police here or whatever, that all the neighbors just stopped calling because the police were tired of it, pretty much. Like, not like tired of it, you know, but it was like, it was just like, it was an every week thing, you know, once or twice a week. So it was like, I don't know. And then there was the one night I was standing on my back patio, I was smoking a cigarette, and then she just randomly walked over and like started talking to me about how she like knows I can hear stuff. And then she was just like, if you ever hear anything like get really loud or whatever, like just, you know, keep quiet about it. Like pretty much like she was like respectfully like try to mind your own, like keep it to yourself, you know. I was like, okay.
I tell you what, this guy's at Bruiser. I'm on the live stream. This guy's interview is just really, I mean, it's so telling. It just, because he was there all the time and could hear them. And, you know, when you live in an apartment complex, it's way noisy. The walls just are not the same as a house.
Like, whatever, you know.
You do you, I'll do me.
Pretty much. That, you know, I go to school down here. You know, I'm from New Jersey. I don't live in Florida. You know, I'm just here to do my school and live my life, you know. And it's like, so for her to tell me, like, don't really pay attention, I was just like, all right, you know.
How long ago was that, do you think?
A few months, probably like 3.5, 4 months ago, probably. You know, she was just like telling me, like, just keep quiet, like, if you hear it, pretty much. And I was just like, whatever.
Okay. Did you ever hang out with them on the back porch?
Yeah.
You hung out with them?
Yeah, I have. And it was like, not for like long periods of time, but like, you know, I'm a musician. So like they heard me playing guitar the one day. So they asked me to come over and tune their son's guitar. So I tuned their son's guitar for them and everything. And I was playing on the back porch because, you know, I write songs. So they were like asking me if they can hear it and everything. I was like, yeah, sure. I had nothing going on. So I went back there and I was hanging out with them and I was playing some guitar. And I did it a few times. And then I was actually in their apartment a few times. Like he was an artist and he was showing me like a bunch of his paintings and like artist drawings and stuff like that. So, I mean, like, they were cool people, but like there was something going on, especially with Sarah. You know what I mean? Like there was something going on with her. Like you couldn't tell. You know, it was like she wasn't all there. You know?
Okay. Now,
he said she wasn't all there.
As far as like their drinking habits, did you notice? Were they heavy drinkers? Did they drink at all? Or?
God, whoa! Hey, that's like, I mean, like. It was so bad. It wasn't all the time, but it was like there was some mornings where I'd be leaving for school at 9 a.m. and I'd like see him like stumbling off the sidewalk right here, you know, like that drunk at 9 o'clock in the morning or like even earlier sometimes. It's like, it's ridiculous sometimes. But I do have to say, whenever her son was around, that was the only, like, the times where I never saw them ever drinking. That was the only time, you know what I mean? But like, other than that, it was like, they were drunk all the time. All the time.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was very visible, you know what I mean? They were like functioning alcoholics, you know what I mean? It was like they had to drink to get through the day type thing. You know?
Did you know their drink of choice?
No, I'm not sure.
When you were hanging out with them, you never.
No, because like when I was hanging out on the back porch, they weren't drinking. We were just honestly sitting there, and we were smoking cigarettes, and I was just like playing some guitar. But yeah, they weren't actually drinking that day. Okay. And even when I was in the house, I didn't see anything that was like a bottle or anything that they would drink. Yeah.
Okay. How old are you?
20.
Yes. I'm going to make an assumption here.
Okay.
And I don't mean no disrespect by it, but I'm assuming as a 20-year-old, you have smelled what marijuana smells like when it's burning.
Of course.
Now, have you ever noticed that coming from their place?
No.
They're not smokers.
Definitely not. I don't believe they're like towards like any type of drug, you know what I mean? Like,
good. How are you?
I don't think they like were on any type of drug.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It was just like very visible, like
They were drinking.
alcohol, you know, because like
Absolutely.
I've had like uncles and stuff that have dealt with it, so like I just know what it looks like to be a heavy alcoholic, you know, and it's just like that's what it looked like, that they just had a lot of drinking problems, you know.
I got you. Yeah. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze.
Oh, you're fine. God bless you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Were you home on Sunday by chance?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you hear
home.
anything?
Yeah, actually, I did. Yeah, that night. So I was reading the article online about what happened and everything, and like, it's just like that story is just like, it doesn't match like what we heard. You know what I mean? Like me and my roommate heard, it's just like it wasn't that quiet. Like the whole like it was a joke or whatever, or like whatever, you know. But it was too loud.
Okay.
Like I literally like it. I don't know about the whole like what the suitcase deal was and everything, but it was
let's do this. Let's back you up.
Yeah.
And I want to kind of get this to flow through.
Okay.
What time did you get up Sunday?
In the morning?
Yeah.
Sunday, I was up at 4:30. I was going to work. Yeah.
Holy cow! What time did you get home?
I got home at 1 o'clock.
So you were at home at 1.
Yeah.
Did you take a nap or anything, or you just power your way through it?
No. Because I get home and then I have class the next morning on Monday. So like I just stay up so I don't have trouble sleeping at night.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So I just power through the day.
Okay. Yeah. So you get home at 1. Was there already noise going on? It was quiet?
Yeah. It was. I didn't truthfully, like I didn't hear anything until like and before like the whole loud noise and everything. I just heard like the normal yelling at the verbal yelling and like the whole like arguing. I hate you, blah blah blah, whatever.
That was gonna be my next question. What kind of stuff were you hearing?
Yeah, it was just like the normal, like it sounds like a normal couple.
Like a really elevated screaming. It was just it
was elevated screaming, but it was like normal, like
their normal.
Yeah, it was like
screaming.
Pretty much.
I got you. Okay. Yeah. So that's the normal back and forth. So that was basically going on starting when you got home.
I would say probably a little later in the afternoon. Later in the afternoon there. Probably around like 7 o'clock. It's like, because I feel like that's when like the drinks are settling in and they get a little more violent toward each other, you know?
You know what I was thinking about? Like, you know, they're going to have, I bet this guy ends up being pulled up on the stand because he seems to know a lot about just the whole fact of seeing them out walking around at 9 a.m. just toasted out of their minds. But Patty was saying here that talking about the premeditated and all that, you know, even with that video that she's got, there's no way that she can do anything to fight the video evidence. There's no way around that. Can you imagine? The jury's going to be like, you know, as soon as they hear the video evidence, which will probably be on day 1 or 2, they're gonna be like, yeah, y'all can just, you know, kill the rest of the trial. We're good. We're good. We've seen enough. Homegirl's going to jail. That's it. Game over.
And it's like,
were they outside or was this all inside? You remember?
It's sad. Truthfully, when I'm home and stuff, like I'm a music producer, so I'm on my laptop a lot in my room, you know. So like, from what I heard in my room, it sounded like they were directly across from me, or like directly across and up. So like either in the rooms there, or like downstairs in the living room in that area right there. So
did you go out on the back to smoke it all that night?
No, actually, I quit smoking. I smoke a vape now, so I stay in my apartment now. It's just a little vape now.
Good for you. Oh, that's a big thing. I mean,
well, yeah, and after the law changed and everything, I can't buy them anymore, so I got forced into it. You know? It was like, this is just like I needed it to like kind of ease the cigarettes off, but we're working at just trying to go completely off it. You know.
Wow. Okay, so but you're in your room. How late did you stay up that night? You think?
I was up pretty late. I stay up pretty late every night. You know, I just get so lost in my music. I was up probably till like 1 a.m. that night, probably right around there. Yeah. And then, like I said, we were just talking about it before, me and my roommate actually. That night, right around, it was probably right around 10:30, 11 o'clock maybe, is when I heard like it get escalated, you know, like it's like the voices got louder, they were yelling, whatever. And then like it got quiet for a little while. And then I heard this really loud, like slamming noise. Excuse me.
Do you know about what time that was?
right around 11:15. It was about 15 minute span there, you know. And then
when you say a slamming noise, does it sound like something hit the wall?
like something like was bouncing down the stairs between the railing and the wall and the stairs, like all the way down, like, you know. And it was clear because like my roommate even said it too, like he heard it up here and it kind of went away from him, and he's the front room here, and I'm in the back, so it was kind of like it was in the middle of the house
coming at
and came right at me, and it was literally right next to me. And I've never felt this before, but that night I was explaining to him the next day because he had said he heard the noise, and I was like, dude, I felt the wall shake. Like it was literally like such a powerful hit against the wall, like the wall shook, and I felt it. And that was like something that where I was like, I kind of looked at the wall and I was just like, that was a little much. A little much. But like I thought, and this whole time I really, really thought it was like him, you know what I mean, like going off or whatever. But like I said, I don't know what happened inside, but it's like what I heard, and it sounded like it was just bouncing, you know what I mean, like down the stairs between like the wall and like.
And that was like a quarter after 11, you said?
Yeah, it was like we heard like yelling and stuff around like 10:30, 10:45-ish, and then it got quiet for like 20, 30 minutes maybe. And then maybe like between 15 and 30 minutes around there. Yeah.
No worries.
And it was like then that loud noise, and then I heard like shuffling around, and then just we both heard it at the same time. It just got silent, and I was just like, okay, I guess it's over. You know, I guess that was like the last, like, then they're done. Like, I guess they walked away from each other.
You didn't hear anything after that?
After that, not loud enough to where I could hear it through the wall. You know what I mean? I don't know if anything.
Did you hear
happened
muffled anything, or just nothing? Only dead quiet.
Dead quiet after that. Because like, you know, the walls aren't thin, but they're not thick.
Yeah, no, I got it.
I mean,
so they could have been over there talking normally, and you would never know.
Yeah, because like you're having normal conversation and stuff. No, but like when they're fighting and they're arguing, you can clear. It's like being on the other side of a bedroom wall, you know, because it's apartments and they're so close.
But at 11:15, that's the last thing you heard. And what you heard was a thump.
Yeah, it was right about that time, like right around 11:15. Yeah, 11:15-ish. Yeah.
And you were up till about 1, and you heard nothing else.
Nothing. I heard, like I said, like a little shuffling around down there, and then that was it.
Did you hear anything? Like, could you make out what they're? Hey, have him grab his buddy's stuff, his food, please. I feel bad. Your stuff is on the ground, and they're going inside.
Thank you very much.
When they were yelling earlier, could you make out anything, or is it just kind of?
It's kind of just like I was saying. It's like you can like hear the whole like I hate you, like, and then you clearly. Thank you, bro. You can clearly hear like something like the I hate yous and the clear like cursing at each other and stuff, and you know.
I'm gonna bring my partner over here.
Okay.
I'm gonna introduce her onto the recording. This is Chelsea Kepsel. She's actually the lead investigator on this case. I'm going to kind of surmise what you told me for her, and if at any point I'm misquoting you, please stop me, okay?
Of course, yeah, sure.
He got up Sunday morning, went to work about 4:30, got home about 1. Things were quiet till probably about 7. He said that then he hears the arguing. He said it's the normal. He's in his bedroom. He can hear the I hate you going back and forth, you know, at a pretty much high volume, which is their normal arguing voice. This continues on pretty much throughout the night, but at right about 10:30, you hear a lot of arguing, right? It gets a little bit escalated at that point.
Yeah, it got louder.
And then right around 11:15, they hear this, he hears this banging coming down the stairs. He said hears bang, bang, bang. You could tell it's coming down the stairs because it starts and then it stops right next to him. And when it stopped, he said something just slammed the wall. He said it shook the wall. He said that was the first time he's ever felt like the whole wall shake like that. He said after that, it was quiet. He was up till about 1 o'clock. But prior to that, I was just trying to, did you hear any threatening anything prior to that? Was anybody screaming, I'm going to kill you? Or
no, I never heard anything like that. Not that night.
Have you heard that in the past?
No, I've never, not that I can recall, truthfully, like, I can't remember ever hearing, like, I'm going to kill you, or, like, any type of, like, threat towards each other like that, but like I've also like it's very visible them sometimes.
Right.
It used to be, like it'd be very loud arguing, and then the next morning you see her outside and bruises on her face, or him out here with like scratch marks everywhere, bruises everywhere. It's like it's just very visible what was going on and everything. Right. And it was just like I was saying before, I just kind of there was a time where she literally came up to me and she was like, no matter like what you hear, pretty much like just kind of keep quiet about it, respectfully, like mind your own business. And I was just like, okay, you know what I mean, like.
Okay.
Like,
you remember when that was?
I would about 3.5, 4 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Not too long ago, but not like very, very recent.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well.
Okay, you guys want to listen to his roommate's statements now? Brandon? Let me know in the chat if that's what you guys would like to listen to. I've also got Brian's here ready to rock and roll as well. Vincent is more emotionally impacted by this than Sarah is. I know, right, Yana? Oh, gosh, it's craziness. Hey, we have over $1,700. Oh, we have over 1,700 people in the chat. Could you guys please hit the like button if you don't mind? It would really help me out with the algorithm. I appreciate you guys doing that if you haven't already. How about we do... I kind of felt like, recap is great, Judy said. Yeah, I kind of felt like this is a good day for us to go over all this stuff, huh? Let me play the interview with Brandon.
January 27, 2020. The time now is approximately 17:48 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I'm currently located at 4748 France Lane, apartment France Court. You sure?
That's what I always park up. Yeah, because you can see it on the sign over there on the 4749. It's France
Okay,
Court.
France Court.
Yeah, it's weird. For some reason, all of the signs are on the opposites, are on the wrong side.
On the wrong, yeah, the further side.
There, the sign's right there on that one.
Gotcha. Okay. France Court. Apartment, the Tealwood Parks apartment. When I'm speaking with, can you state your name?
It's Brandon Nuts.
And your date of... Okay. And you reside at this apartment, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you said that you've been living here since January of 2019?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. On Sunday, which would have been...
The 24th?
Let's just double check. Sunday was the 23rd.
23rd.
Were you home that day?
I would have come home a little late that evening, but I would have been here around 8, 9 o'clock. I would have gotten in around 8 or 9 o'clock.
PM?
Yes.
Okay. And so your apartment is right next to apartment number 3. Does your apartment share walls with theirs?
My bedroom shares a wall with the lower half of their apartment.
The lower half, okay. Do you recall hearing anything coming from apartment 3 while you were, after you had gotten home?
Around 10:30 or 11 o'clock, there was a very loud crashing sound where I believe, I'm not sure, I haven't been in their apartment like my roommate, but I believe is the location of the staircase.
Okay, so
a little bit above.
A very loud, you said crashing sound?
Yeah, like it sounded like something had been like falling down the stairs. Because it started up high and then it ended low.
Okay. And when you heard the loud crashing sound, did you hear any voices? Like, could you make out if you heard a male or female's voice?
I couldn't hear anything, no.
Okay. Is that normal for you to hear noises coming from their apartment?
Not loud. But
not that loud?
Not that loud.
Okay.
But I'll regularly hear like thudding sounds, like stuff being like slammed against the wall or something like that.
Okay. Have you ever heard voices? Have you ever been able to determine?
I've always kind of like tuned out if I was hearing voices.
If you heard something, you can. Okay, but you have heard loud noises in the past, but not as loud as you had heard on Sunday night.
No, it had never been that. Like I felt the walls shake.
Okay.
As the sound happened.
Do you know either of them? Like, do you know?
I've had a few brief interactions with them.
Okay.
But I don't.
Like, do you know who lives there? Like,
yes.
Can you describe who lives there for me?
It is a sort of, I guess, like middle. I don't know, like around 40s, blonde woman.
Okay.
And a Hispanic gentleman, I believe so. I haven't interacted with him much. I've spoken to her a few times.
You've spoken to her a few times. Okay. Anyone else live there?
I believe they have a little boy.
A small child. Okay. When you have seen them around, how do they appear to you?
They almost always seem either like tired or like tweaked out.
Tweaked out?
Yeah.
Okay. The conversations you had, the interactions you've had with the female, like, what do you mean interactions?
I remember one night she slept on the back porch of my apartment for some reason. Okay. I don't remember much, but I just remember, like, looking out the shade and seeing her, like, laid down.
Okay. Do you recall, like, maybe what month this was?
I couldn't say. It was pretty early when I moved in. I would say the summer of 2019. Summer of 2019.
Okay. Did you wake her? Or?
No, I just...
Okay. And by sleeping, you guys all have, like, a cement area, right? Yes. Like a back patio, yes. But it's not enclosed.
No.
Was she in a chair, on the ground? Or? On the ground. Okay.
I don't have any chairs on our back porch.
Okay. Any other run-ins with her? Things you've witnessed with her?
I was coming home from class one night. I would not be able to give you a time period on this.
Sure,
I don't remember when it is. And I was waiting on my roommate to get home because I had left my keys in the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember she came over and was talking to me for a minute, and it was very visible that, like, she was talking to me because she didn't want to be in her apartment.
Okay.
I don't know why, like, I didn't ask, but it was just very evident that she didn't want to be there.
Do you remember anything she was saying?
No.
Her demeanor?
It was, she seemed like skittish, like nervous.
Okay.
I don't remember anything we talked about because, in complete honesty, when I was just, it was in one ear and out the other.
Right, yeah, you were just kind of, right.
With vague nothing.
Okay. Did she appear to be on anything at that point, or just she seemed nervous?
She seemed nervous.
Okay.
She didn't seem, like, high or anything. She just seemed out of it.
Okay.
I would chalk it up to be more like tired or paranoid or nervous, stuff like that.
Okay. And any other interactions with her?
No. Honestly, from the few times I had spoken to her, like, anytime I saw her, I kind of just tried to go straight into my apartment.
Right.
There's a few times where I would walk past and she'd say hi or something, and I was just kind of lie and be like, oh, I'm only going to be here for like 10 minutes. I just got to change and head back to class or something. Like, I try to avoid.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you ever witness either of them on their back porch patio?
No, I don't walk that direction.
Okay.
I don't have any reason to go like that.
Right. You guys don't have any, like, dogs or anything that you have to walk?
Have any pets.
There you go. Okay. Any interactions with the Hispanic male?
No, not that I can recall.
No? Okay. Okay, is there anything else that you think is important for me to know about them and anything you've heard or witnessed between the two of them?
It seems like an abusive relationship. Just from every time I heard them, every time, like, I saw the two of them, it seemed rough.
Okay. Okay.
It's one of those things where like he was a bad guy. He was a bad guy.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is there anything else that you think is important for me to know?
Nothing I can think of. No.
Okay. Do you mind raising your right hand for me? Do you promise and swear everything we've talked about has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Everything I've said is true as far as I can work on.
Yep, perfect. All right, this ends the recording at 17:57 hours.
Okay. Next up, would you guys like to hear Brian's testimony, or do you want to hear Abraham's? Let's listen to Abraham. Let's listen to the other neighbor first, and then we'll go on to the next other one. Now, here is the audio clip of his interview.
Today's date is February 26, 2020. The time now is approximately 11:45 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I'm currently located at
4704
Lucier Court. In Winter Park, Florida, 32792 at the Tealwood Park Apartments Complex in the front office. Also with me is, can you state your name, sir?
Abraham Moreno.
Okay, and your date of birth? So with me is my partner, Detective Scott Lullen with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Okay, Abram, prior to us going on recording, I was informed by Melissa, who's the property manager, that you knew Jorge Torrez.
Correct.
And you were explaining that you knew him from Philadelphia when he was smaller.
Yes.
And then now you, I guess, had
Reconnected when I started working here in October.
In October of last year?
Of last year.
Of 19. Okay. So you said that you last saw him, you said it was last Tuesday?
Last Thursday.
Last Thursday. Okay, thank you. So last Thursday was the 20th?
Correct.
Sound about right? Okay. Now, what can you tell me about George and Sarah's relationship?
They had an off rocky relationship, which was physical on occasions. I'm aware of the fact that George had a probation officer. He was in anger management. And again, they had their good times, their bad times. Sometimes he would instigate the situations. Majority of the times, Sarah Boone instigated the situations. And she ended up with bruises. But that's more of him, like, kind of pushing her off of himself.
Okay. And that's what he told you?
Yes.
Okay.
And she verified it with you.
Sarah verified with you?
Yes.
Okay. Did they both drink a lot?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
In excess.
What?
In excess. They didn't drink to drink. They drank to sunrise to sunset, all the time in between.
Okay. Did you ever see them physically fight?
No.
Okay. Have you ever seen them physically argue?
I've seen them argue,
Okay.
but no physical contact.
Right. Has George confided in you about Sarah? About anything she's, I know that they both, sometimes
He notified me, he had told me on a couple of occasions where she called the police on him and had him put out. A couple of times he ended up getting arrested over it. And that she was the reason why he was taking the anger management courses. So, because a couple of weeks ago, he was still working at the hardware store on the corner till they closed.
Right.
And that's where me and him would have more of our conversations than anything else. I'm going there to get stuff. Now it's just me and him, one-on-one.
Right.
She's not there to create this situation.
Okay. And so, just correct me if I'm wrong, you said that sometimes he would instigate it and sometimes she would instigate it?
Yes.
Okay. And he admitted to that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know when Did he confide in you about like their last physical argument or
No.
fight?
The last physical fight that they had, she mentioned it to me, Melissa, and Mr. G when she got arrested. When we were all standing outside, and she said, I want to speak to you. And G walked over to an officer and said, is it okay if she speaks to us? They said we would prefer not, but that is her choice.
Right.
We did not ask her any questions. She had told us that a couple of days ago they got into a fight where he grabbed her by her hair and dragged her down the steps.
Okay.
And that would probably be a day or two before the situation happened.
Before the situation?
With the suitcase.
Okay, so when did you talk? When was that?
She was talking to us outside Monday afternoon.
Oh, Monday. Okay. I thought you said the last time she got arrested, and I'm like...
No, when she got arrested, when everybody was at her door.
When we were investigating.
When you were doing during your investigation, because you was typing in the car.
Okay.
She was talking to us outside. There was a young officer at the door who heard the conversation.
Okay.
Because he was only but 20 feet away.
Okay. So she told you what again? One more time.
That they had gotten into a fight. He grabbed her by the hair and dragged her down the steps.
2 days prior?
Probably about 2 days prior to that situation.
So that would be Saturday.
Yeah, over the weekend, yes. Whatever took place over the weekend, Saturday or Sunday.
Okay.
Mandy, did you hear that? We were talking in the comments once before about how he had made this comment, Abraham, and it was written in the report, but we couldn't find it in the audio. I think this was it right here. I think this happened a couple of days before, and the way it's written in the police report is just kind of confusing. We thought he had said it while the police were on the scene finding George, but I don't think that's the case. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out because I just caught it.
Then she told us that they were playing hide and seek. He went in the suitcase. She zipped it up. And then she went upstairs and passed out.
Did he ever confide in you, like, what he did? Like, for fun? Besides, like, the drinking, like, is there other activities that he did? Did he ever tell you, like, oh, I'm trying to get into this?
They actually used to do a whole lot of arts and crafts inside of the townhome. And they did a lot of it with her son. Kind of, there wasn't a perfect relationship, but they tried, I guess, in their own way.
Right. Okay. Is there anything else that he would tell you about him and Sarah's relationship that you think is important for us to know?
I think you actually know it all. They just had a very rocky physical relationship. On and off.
Okay. Did you ever see marks or bruises on him?
Yes.
Okay. Like what?
Scratches on the neck.
Scratches.
As I said, with her attacking him, he's kind of just
Trying to stop.
shove her back, but because she's such light skin, as soon as he touched her, instant bruises all across the arms and things of that nature.
Right. Okay. So I don't know if you've noticed or if it's been before, but the door, there's like a bunch of markings on the door. Have you ever noticed that or no?
How much door?
Door.
The front door, the very front metal door.
I haven't looked at it,
Okay.
but I know if I was to look at it, I could probably tell you what it was.
Okay. We're just curious if, like, since you had been working here, if you noticed it or saw it.
No,
compared
because
to-
they had keys. Now, they probably slamming doors back and forth and had an argument. I know of one instance where her ex-husband showed up, but that would probably be around November.
Anything?
Has he ever talked to you about any damage inside the apartment that he needed help fixing that you couldn't do?
No.
Have you ever really been inside their apartment?
Yes, I have. I do basic work orders, like change the verticals, patch up.
Have you seen any damage that looks like it was caused by either one of them?
How did I say? It just looks like normal wear and tear of a unit.
Well, I noticed on the first floor there's a half bath there.
Yes.
There's like 2 or 3 patches on that door. Do you know anything about those patches?
No, not the door. I did the patchwork in the ceiling, and that was due to leaking air conditioning. Yeah. The door would have had to have been super recent.
Yeah. One night. I did hear about that.
Yeah. All right.
And you said Sarah has Sarah confided in you where George is not there? Or is it like?
The most she ever did was we're fighting, we're arguing, he's always arguing with his ex-wife over the phone. I just tried not to get in the middle of that.
Did you know his ex-wife, or was that prior?
Oh, that's well after. Because I lived down the street from George.
For how long?
93 to 2005.
So he would have started at, you said 14?
Yeah,
So he would have been into his mid-20s.
Yeah, but it was me and my wife. And
Yeah.
trust me, she works for DHS.
Okay.
She's a child service kid. My son is a Philadelphia police officer. Different circles altogether.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask. How well did you know him up there?
Oh, not like I said, to me, he was just a teenager running around with the other kids. And I was like,
See him at the corner store and stuff like that?
yeah, stuff like that. Well, literally on the block, because I lived here. My brother-in-law across the street was my ex-wife's aunt, and then George.
Okay.
So it was, and then her mother lived across the street. So restaurants. So no matter where you go, everybody sees each other in the corners and stuff.
Now down here, was it just coincidence you got the job here, was walking through and ran into him and went,
Yep.
holy cow. Okay.
That's literally what happened. It was like, whoa, real small world.
Do you ever go out and hang out with them, have
Nope.
dinner, go drinking? The only time we've ever seen them is when you're at work, either here on this property
Or when I would go to the hardware store. That's it.
Okay. Did you ever stay after and hang out in the apartment with them?
Nope. I don't hang out with residents.
Good.
All these are on my channel if you
Time
guys
was
want to go back and listen to
15,
them.
25 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I am currently located in my unmarked agency vehicle in front of 4748 France Lane, apartment number 3 in Winter Park, Florida. Also in the car with me is my partner.
Scott Lowen, Detective of the Orange County Sheriff's Office.
And your name, sir?
Brian's been 75.
Okay. So, Brian, to my understanding, you were called over here. So can you just take me back to this morning and your involvement with Sarah, which is your ex-wife?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yes. We've been divorced about a year and a half.
Okay.
I started calling her probably 10:30 or so. It's her day to pick up the kid.
Okay.
It doesn't always happen. 1 or 2 days a week, maybe she gets them.
Out of the 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And what
Gen X Gamer says, why weren't they kicked out over the DV? Well, the first guy that was talking, that was the neighbor, and he said that it sounded as if everybody just gave up. They complained and complained and complained and finally just gave up that they weren't going to boot her out.
you pick, like every other day you're supposed to?
Well, we're supposed to. She's Monday, Tuesday. I'm Wednesday, Thursday, and then we alternate Friday through Sunday. Is how it's supposed to. I was actually my lawyer back a couple of weeks ago because I was looking to get it changed because she can never stick to it. There's always some reason why. So it's general that I start calling her around to find out if she's actually going to get him, even though yesterday she told me she would. So I started calling her about 10:30. Never got any answer until so I finally got a hold of her at 12:49.
And did she call you or you call her?
No, I called her. I called her at 11:25. I did that twice. I always call twice because generally she's asleep or whatever. And then I called her 2 more times at 12:21, and then I called her again at 12:49, and that's when she answered.
Okay.
Freaking out, saying that George was dead, and could I please come over? So I told her, you need to call the police.
Mm-hmm.
And went and got my dog in his crate and everything, and started heading over here. She called me again at 12:54 asking if I was going to be coming over, if I'd left yet. I told her I had already left. I was going to be there in a couple minutes. So I got here, knocked on the door, walked in just right in the front entrance area. Told her once again, you need to call the police.
Was she on the phone with anyone when
Not
you
yet.
saw her?
Not yet.
Okay.
She was shaking and she was trying to get herself something to drink because she was just like freaking out. So that's when she got on the phone and called, and I said, I'm going outside because I don't really want to be in here right now. So I came outside and I sat in my car until people showed up, and
Okay.
it's kind of where we've gone from there. So
Okay. So you called her about 5 or 6 times before she answered.
yeah, which completely normal.
Normal to you. Okay. The rotation real quick. So Monday, Tuesday, she'll have them. Wednesday, Thursday, you'll have them, and then you rotate each weekend.
Yeah, well,
Like it's every other weekend.
how it's supposed to work. Generally, it's 1 or 2 times, maybe a week. I think she had him last Tuesday was the last time he was actually over here.
And spent the night.
Yes.
Okay.
It's probably another week before that.
What's your son's name?
Lucas. Lukas.
L-U-K. And Boone.
Yeah.
Okay. You think he stayed here last Tuesday?
Yes.
That poor little boy.
I'm pretty sure it was last Tuesday.
Was well then. Okay, so you technically have him more than she does. Is that what you're getting?
Yeah, that's why I said I was going
So
to
even
lawyer,
though that's how
trying to
it's
get things
supposed to be, you still have him.
Yeah,
the majority.
it's not a good day. George is in a bad mood or whatever else reason. I think sometimes just she wants to stay up and drink and can't really do that if she's got to wake up and take him to school the next day.
Right.
Any number of different reasons. So, but,
Okay. How long have you known Sarah?
Since, let's see here, I was probably 23 or so when we met.
Oh wow.
Something like that.
Since you were 23?
Yeah, so probably, 20 years. We dated for quite a while, and then got married, whatever it was, 12, 13 years ago, something like that. Well, I guess 12, 13 years ago before the divorce, so I guess like 14, 15 ago, something like that, maybe.
Okay. What can you tell me about her?
I don't, she's generally not, she can get a bit violent when she drinks. Not to this kind of extent. I don't know what happened exactly. But,
right. No, I'm just looking for.
But that was part of it. The alcohol has gotten worse and worse and worse over the years. That's one of the main reasons why I divorced her. I just couldn't deal with it. It got to the point where, on weekdays she'd go out, and I guess the George person is one of the people she had met, because I separated at one point. I went over to my parents' house to live for a few months, and I guess she met him over at the pool place or something like that. But I'd come back and we were in therapy trying to work it out, and on a weeknight when he's got school the next day, I've got work the next day. She was out till 3 o'clock in the morning when the bar closes, and she'd bring people back over on the back porch. One time some random person walked in my house and started screaming for Sarah at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning when we're trying to sleep. I just couldn't get over it.
So did you still live here?
No. I bought her out of our house.
Okay.
I was going to just sell it and move because I wanted to go back to College Park, which is where I'm from. But
right.
I thought it would be maybe easier for Lucas if I just bought her out and kept that house, so he had a little bit of continuancy kind of.
Understandable.
So that's what I ended up doing, and then she moved right down the street here. So.
And how long would you say the alcoholism has been a part of her life?
Well, I mean, it's always been a part of her life. It seemed to have gotten worse and worse. I think more or less kind of since we had Lucas. And I think a lot of it was the fact that she kind of, I guess, maybe felt trapped or something.
Okay.
That, I mean, before that, I mean, whenever she wanted, you're outside having a drink. Oh, I want to go play pool. You go over across the street, you play pool for a little bit.
Yeah.
That's not happening anymore when she got a kid.
Right.
So.
How old's your son?
He is 9. So, but I mean, she started just really angry when she drank a lot. She said last night she fell asleep. There were plenty of times where she just basically passed out from drinking. So,
so you've witnessed her pass out from drinking?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And when she passes out, is she like out cold?
Oh, she's out.
Like how difficult would it be to like wake her?
Well, I mean, if I were to like shake her or something,
right.
I could probably wake her up. But me making a phone call or noise probably wouldn't do it.
Okay.
You know, I wonder if her defense attorneys, after listening to that, I wonder if her previous defense attorneys had said, we need to use this. We need to use the fact that you were blacked out, passed out. And because that's your only saving grace. And she refused it. I guarantee you that's it. Can you imagine that they were trying to help her and she kept saying, no, I didn't, it's not my fault.
And would she be like in the middle of doing something and just like out cold, or would she go to bed and be out cold?
Yeah, she wouldn't like fall over or anything. It'd be more of a lay down and then she just out.
Right. Okay. What do you know about her and George's relationship, if anything?
It was. I mean, I think she had him arrested like 5 or 6 times for domestic violence. I mean, he's stuck a steak knife in the back of her leg one time.
Okay.
He's
been arrested. So has he always been the one that gets arrested, or has she ever?
She was also one of the times.
Okay.
One of the times, both of them were arrested. But all the others have been him. But the very next day, she's in there trying to get him bailed out. So
Right.
I don't know. Basically, they get drunk, they get in a fight, she gets upset, she calls the cops. I mean, granted, I saw lots of black eyes, bruises.
On her?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, there definitely was. Now,
would you see George as much as you would see him or her?
I hardly ever saw him.
You hardly
I honestly, I didn't like being around either one of them.
Right.
To be honest, and him more so. So.
Why is that?
Just I don't know. It's my ex-wife. She made me really mad with everything. How the whole divorce went down, and just, I mean, the way she acted and the way she changed and the way they both are. I mean, what it's done to Lucas and everything else. He's nobody I cared to see. Let me put it that way. I mean, it's not like I really went out of my way to it's just.
When you guys do drop-offs or anything, is it always through the school, or would you like have to come here and see them, or no?
No, it's pretty much always during the school. Sometimes she would come over or something like that. Sometimes he would be driving, but I mean, he would just stay in the car. She would come in. So, I mean, I really wouldn't see him.
So it's not like you have like conversations with George. Okay.
No, I mean, maybe a few times when they've drunkenly called me at night because she was telling me she needed to escape because whatever's going on, or she's put him on the phone, but I don't know.
When's like the last incident that you recall of there being like a domestic dispute between her and George?
I mean, she told me like a week ago she had to escape from the house and wanted me to come pick her up. I told her I wasn't going to because I'm just tired of it happening. I mean,
Right.
it was midnight. I mean, child's trying to sleep, and just
Right.
honestly, I don't always believe her when she said these things were going on. And I
She
mean,
called you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, apparently she went back inside and slept well. Was in a fine mood the next day. I guess didn't really remember calling me, so I don't know if it was just
brought up again?
if it was just she wanted to come over to. I don't know. She keeps on trying to come over to like hang out or something like that, or she'll come over to spend time with Lucas rather than actually just having him over here like she's supposed to. But she wants to come over there and play with him. And so I'm not sure how real that was. Last time I know there was an actual physical confrontation. It's probably been a little while because this last time George got arrested, I know he was on free trial, whatever, something. I don't know. He had a parole officer, domestic violence class. He's like.
So that's the last time, basically the last time he was arrested was the last physical altercation that you recall?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know for sure, but I think so.
Do you have any idea what year or month that may have been?
Back a few months, maybe?
A few months ago?
Yeah, something like that, maybe. I don't think it was incredibly long.
Okay. Like around the holidays of last year, before the holidays?
I think it was probably before the holidays. I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
Because oddly enough, there was like a 3-week period where she actually had Lucas all the time she was supposed to because he was in jail for a month or something like that.
Okay.
Because they wouldn't let him out.
Yeah. And you said when she drinks that she can get physically aggressive.
She can. I mean, she did it to me a lot where she'd hit me and stuff like that. I mean, she's tiny. I mean,
What do you mean hit though? Like open hand smack you or like try to punch you?
Yeah, she'd punch me. I mean, more arms. She many times would use her claws. I mean, I had scratches on my neck at times, on my arms. I mean, things like that where she'd dig with her claws.
Okay.
I never got that drunk and I had restraint. I never touched her back. I think George didn't have that restraint, and at times he would hurt her back. So for all I know, all the times he got arrested, she started it. I don't know. I wasn't there, so.
Mm-hmm.
But I know she could get violent at times.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know. It wasn't anything too. I don't know. Too much. I mean, just.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you don't feel like she was a huge threat. I'm assuming, right?
No.
Yeah. Like you could handle yourself.
Yes.
Does she drink daily?
I think pretty much.
Okay. Do you know like her drink of choice?
That would be vodka.
Vodka.
Or wine, but vodka is the big one.
And does she or George have a job?
No. She hasn't worked for over 2 years. Well, I guess you could maybe call when he's got a job. He worked at the Ace Hardware up across the street here.
Okay.
Which is now going out of business.
Okay.
He kind of off and on worked there. When he did work, it was 15, 20 hours a week, something like that. I mean, my alimony and stuff basically pays for where they live. So, I mean, they
There it is. That's the part I never heard before. He pays for everything. He's probably paying for the wine and the cigarettes too. That was an old comment, by the way, guys. I put that on there when I uploaded. I know. Don't come for me in the chat.
didn't need a ton, but I mean, she was always calling to borrow money, and it's been like 2 years since she got a job. She keeps on telling me she's looking. She's always finding the good opportunities and everything, but.
Right.
Okay.
Do you want to take it?
It's my dad. Just
Sure.
one second. Over. Hey. Well, just wait. I'm talking with the detectives right now, and I should be heading out here soon. So I can come get him. Okay. Is John out? Oh, okay. Is he awake? Okay. Good. Okay. Well, I should be up there very soon. Okay. Bye. Sorry.
Okay. We were just on the phone with someone. Okay. When you came over here, I know you said that she called you freaking out saying he was dead. Did she give you any more, like, did you ask why or how?
She told me that they were playing last night or something, and he got in the suitcase and she fell asleep.
Okay.
That's all she told me, so I don't know anything beyond that.
Okay.
And I really didn't talk to her much because I came inside, I told her you need to call the police, and then I came back out, and I think she went on the back porch to smoke a cigarette, so I didn't even really talk with her much.
Oh, like she was going outside this. Did you see her take a cigarette?
Yeah, she was going outside with I also know when the cops showed up, she kept on telling them she had a cigarette burning out there and she needed to go put it out.
Okay.
But they were keeping her away from stuff, I guess.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, she wanted me to come back there with her. I was like, I'm going out here. I don't really want to be in here, so.
Right. And that's when she went to call 911.
Well, she called 911 while I was in there. I was standing right in the foyer area.
Okay.
And I mean, it was apparently a pretty quick conversation, and that's when she started to go that way, and I just told her I'm going out front. So.
Okay. 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 So they were playing, and she went upstairs and went to bed.
I don't know where she went. She just told me she went to sleep.
Or she went to sleep. Okay. You don't know where.
I don't know where.
You didn't ask more questions.
I didn't ask more questions. I leave that to you guys.
Yeah. No problem.
Hey, I'll let you know when I'm done talking to these guys, okay?
This house.
Well, I was in the foyer.
No, not today.
Oh, before today? I'm trying to remember if I've been in there. I haven't even really been over here lately.
So it's been a long time.
It's probably been at least weeks, maybe.
Does Lucas play baseball or anything yet?
We've tried to get him into sports. He's not a big sports person, really.
Did you ever play baseball?
He didn't play baseball. Well, I mean, I had him like a T-ball set and stuff like that, and we'd play catch.
Is it like a plastic T-ball set, or what kind of equipment did you have?
Oh, no, this is when he was like 3 years old. It was a little plastic thing I had in the backyard.
Did you ever buy him any baseball bats or anything?
See, where's the baseball bat thing coming from? I am wondering, now they're asking this I don't know exactly when this interview was done, but I'm thinking that they have knowledge already in asking that question of the medical examiner's report on his body, because they do know that he had bruises and whatnot. To what extent, we don't know yet.
But one for over here that Sarah said for Lucas and George to like play with or something. That was like a year ago or something, maybe.
What kind of bat was it? Was it a wood bat?
Yeah, it was a wooden bat. I think it was like a junior size thingy. I don't know. It's something that I like kind of for his height or something, I think.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Okay. Would you mind if I took a picture of your call log to show
Sure.
That you've all the
Do you just want to see hers, or you, like zoomed in on hers so you can see all of those?
Yeah, that's perfect. So I'd say starting from today. I know her phone.
Did you text with her at all today?
Not today. I don't think I did today at all.
Sorry.
That was last night. She was drunkenly texting me.
Last night?
Yeah.
What time?
That was 11 o'clock at night. I think that was
Last night was Sunday. Does it say?
Oh, that's Saturday. Never mind.
Saturday.
That was Saturday night when I was watching the baseball game.
Okay.
Yesterday, which is that. She said her account was in the negative, so I transferred her a little bit of money to get her out of the negative.
She sent you. Oh, that was the morning. Okay, so she thanked you at 11:56 that morning.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What's the last thank you? What time? Okay, so just a few times.
Yeah, and then that one at
she left
12:01.
12:01. Okay, so afternoon, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the calls. Do you need like?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Okay. Yep, I'll start from the top where it has her information. Go ahead. You could scroll down, and that's fine. Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Has Lucas ever told you anything about her, like, witnessing anything between George?
He's heard arguments and things like that. Okay. He's not a big fan of staying over here, honestly.
Okay.
Just because they get in arguments and stuff like that. I don't think they've ever had a physical fight in front of him.
Okay.
But I know there's been arguments he's told me about.
Okay.
There's been times where I think things were starting to get to that point, and she has called me to come pick him up.
Okay.
And bring him back over to my house. So
yeah. Okay.
She's generally pretty good about having me come get him if, which leads to me not having a life because I can't ever do anything.
Right.
I can't go anywhere because I'm too worried about something happening and me having to be over here quickly.
Yeah. Okay, do you have anything else?
Yeah, do you know if she's ever had any issues with drugs in the past?
You know, he was a single parent, basically, even before this all happened.
To my knowledge, she's never really been a drug person. She's big on alcohol, but I don't think she's ever done. I mean, I think she told me like one time, like back before we got divorced, that at I don't know, this bar thing over there across the street near the Walgreens, whatever it's called.
Okay.
I've never been there, but somebody gave her a little bit of cocaine, like 2 years ago or something like that. But I've never known her to do drugs.
What about George?
No clue whatsoever. That
she's never complained to you.
No. That's not to say these things don't happen, because I try to keep myself out of and away from them in general. But
right.
Which vehicle is yours?
The Prius right up here.
In front of us?
Yeah.
What does that stand for?
That is what I got sent.
Oh,
I know it looks like a vanity thing. No, that's just this last time they, I guess, sent me a new plate and that's what was on it.
Awesome. So you can make that up whatever you want it to be.
I could.
Tell them it's for racing. You're going to.
Yeah, I know you're racing.
Yes, racing in my Prius.
I'm not saying you win. I'm just saying you race.
Oh man. Okay. Anything else, Scott? Okay. Is there anything else that you think is important for us to know that we have not asked you? About either George or Sarah?
I don't think so.
When I mean, you guys have been separated for, what do you say, 5?
We've been divorced about 1.5 years. We were separated a good 8 months before that or so. And we had been separated one other time before that, before we got back together and we're trying to do therapy, which didn't work at all. So
how long has she been living in this apartment?
Ever since we got divorced. So
a 1.5 years ago?
No, longer than that then. Because I took over the house. I moved in there and she moved here. Because I told her I was buying her out of the house. So I guess it has been longer than that. I think she just said she renewed, so maybe just past 2 years.
Okay.
That may be right.
I think she said she's been here like 4 years.
No, she's been with George. I don't remember what she said.
Yeah, she was with George before we were divorced. So
yeah. Okay. And any time that you recall when you guys were together, and she would be drunk. Did she always like resort to getting angry? Like, is she an angry drunk, or would she like?
Her main problem is she can't stop.
Okay.
I mean, she can go out and have a glass of wine with dinner.
Right.
That's not a thing she can do, because once she starts drinking, she will continue drinking basically until she out.
Yeah. If she were to be drunk, would she like want to play games with you? Like, did you guys?
Oh, there's a really good period where she is very good, but then she drinks past that and she gets into the angry bits.
Okay.
Any hide and seek, maybe?
Okay. Okay. Can you just raise your right hand for me? Do you promise and swear everything we've talked about has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. This ends the recording 15:52 hours. Today's date is March 1st, 2020. The time now is approximately 16:41 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I am on the phone with, can you state your name, sir?
Brian Boone.
And I have a couple follow-up questions that I wanted to ask Brian Boone in reference to this case. Brian, just give me your date of birth for me.
5.
Okay. And do you promise and swear everything we're going to talk about is going to be true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. So we had a conversation about the incident and your involvement a few days ago, earlier this week, I believe on Tuesday. And after looking through Sarah's call logs, I noticed that she called you on February 23rd, which would be the Sunday night at around 23:46 hours, and that's military time, but in normal time, that's 11:46 hours. Do you recall that phone call?
I do, well, somewhat. I was asleep when she called. So she woke me up. I was half asleep when I was talking to her. She did sound very inebriated.
Okay.
I don't remember what all she said. I'm kind of used to her calling drunk late at night and things like that, so it didn't faze me as anything out of the ordinary. I basically just kind of got her off the phone and told her I'm going back to sleep and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay. You said that she sounded inebriated, like she was drunk?
Yeah, I mean, she didn't sound like, it's hard. I was half asleep at the time. I don't think I remember hearing anything bad in the background or anything that would have caused me concern, but I don't really remember it that well.
Okay. But she was under the influence of alcohol based off of your knowledge of just knowing her and knowing when she's not under the influence.
Yeah. As soon as I heard her start talking, I almost kind of just zoned out away from it because she says all kinds of nonsense when she does this late at night, and I was trying to get her off the phone so I could go back to sleep. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm on the phone right now. You need to get yourself right off. Get yourself right off. Your pajamas are right here, okay? Hold on, buddy. I'm sorry.
It's
sorry.
okay.
Go ahead.
It's okay.
What?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Are you ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember her saying anything specifically about George?
Don't think so. I don't really remember. I really don't remember much of the conversation, honestly.
Okay, I appreciate it. Okay, and the phone conversation lasted for a little over 2 minutes, if I'm not mistaken?
May have been, yeah.
Okay. And you said that is kind of normal for her to call you late at night or just kind of whenever she's under the influence and she's kind of just babbling on and you have to try and get her off the phone.
Yeah,
if you don't
it's a thing that happens.
Okay. Okay, so you can't remember anything specific about what she may or may not have said, but she did sound inebriated. Does that sound correct?
Yeah.
And you couldn't hear anything in the background?
Not that.
As far as like
remember,
arguing or
no.
yelling or anything like that, you couldn't hear any of that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do you know where she was located? Did she ever say?
I was assuming she was at home.
Okay, but she didn't say.
I mean, she didn't have a lot of money. She didn't really go out anywhere, so I assumed she was at home.
Okay. But you wouldn't know where in the house she may have been?
No.
Okay, she didn't give you that information. Okay.
Not that I remember. It's possible she said something. I don't really remember, though.
Okay. All right, is there anything else that you think is important for me to know about that phone conversation?
I don't think so.
Do you guys talk often? Like, in a day's time, like, do you guys talk daily?
More than I would like. Normally, anytime I'm calling her, it's to find out if she's actually going to be getting the child up like she's supposed to.
Right.
Like that next morning with me constantly calling.
Right.
She'll call to talk to Lucas, or sometimes when she's drunk, or she wants me to come pick her up because she's scared of George, or, I mean, any number of different things.
Okay, you're kind of like her call person, like she...
Yeah. It's gotten very old over the last couple of years, so I've started to just kind of ignore what she's saying and just try to get her gone as soon as possible.
Right.
Because, I mean, honestly, for a long time, I tried to help her out, give her refuge, get away from him, and she just kept bringing him back, and I eventually just gave up on the situation, so...
Right. Okay. All right, do you promise and swear everything that we have talked about has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay, this ends the recording.
Well, what do you guys think? Okay, now I would like to go into George's brother Juan's interview now. You know, the harmful guy that was going to kill Sarah, right? Yeah, right. Let me skip it. Hang on. It was February the 26th. George passed on the 24th. So it's been 2 days since his brother died.
So Sunday, we're looking at the calendar together, the 23rd?
The 23rd.
Okay, so February 23rd, you guys had a conversation. Do you recall what time that conversation took place?
7:30. Well, it finished at 7:30.
Do you remember what time it started? Do you by any chance still have it in your call log?
Okay, cool. Sorry about that, everybody.
Does it do it when... So it had to be 7:30. Because when you call it, clocks it. It doesn't do it at the end. It starts it.
It starts it, and
So
then it tells you how long you talked for.
So it was 7:30. Huh?
Okay. If you do have it in your call log, I'd love to take a picture of it if you still have it.
So over here.
So it'd be Sarah. Okay. If you click, I'm just gonna... There we go. Do you mind if I take a photo?
No, it's fine.
Okay. And so it says you received an incoming call at 7:30, and you guys spoke for 4 minutes.
Yes. We was talking. I was playing dominoes with my kids and my wife. And at first I wasn't going to pick it up. Then I picked up.
Okay.
Because they were always fighting and stuff with the alcohol. So he started talking to me. He was calm. So I was like, oh, okay. So I put it on speaker. So my kids are there, like they joke around with him, and he was joking around with them. And we're talking. He's talking to me about when we was kids, and then like a couple minutes after that, that's when I hear in the back start arguing with him. No, I have to call my brother. I have to talk to him, and he's like, no, I'm talking to my brother. it was her.
Okay. I can't help it, but I've got to say something right here. Anytime the attention goes away from Sarah and onto somebody else, it doesn't have to be a female. It could be anybody in George's life. Sarah gets upset and has to do whatever she has to do to get his attention. Y'all, I think that's so key and so telling.
Her phone, so, and then she starts arguing and telling him that, no, tell him what you've been doing to me. You choked me, this and that. But he was calm, and he was like, okay, I gotta let you go. And then he said, I love you. And then I told him I love you. And
It's sad.
basically, that was it.
So she yells in the background, tell him what you've been doing to me.
Yeah.
You've been choking me.
Yeah.
Did you ask him anything about that?
No, because the thing with them, they would fight and they would hit each other. Because there was times he came here and she had hit him with a phone and he had a black eye. So it was like...
Did you witness that?
I didn't get to see it, but he told me himself.
Okay. So you guys know that there's domestic between the two.
Between them. And I told them, get out of there, get out of there. I would tell them, leave. And what's crazy...
Unfortunately, I wonder if they won't be able to bring that in. He said that she threw a phone and hit him, and he had a black eye from it. But he didn't see it. He was just told about it from George.
Is that he would leave, come here, and she would call and tell him to come back, and she would come and get him. So if she had the car, he didn't have a car.
Right.
And if you guys notice the verbiage they're using here, he's not saying she would call and try to get him back or talk him into coming back or she wanted him to come back. It's none of that. Like she told him to come back. Let me go back over that again.
What's crazy is that he would leave, come here, and she would call and tell him to come back, and she would come and get him. So if she had the car, he didn't have a car.
Right.
So
you said that he sounded calm.
He was calm, relaxed. Like he would. I can tell because my brother's been drinking for a long time. We tried to get him help before.
Right.
And I can tell when he was like really drinking.
Okay, I still have some of you guys saying you can't hear. And I'm really confused about that because I had to refresh it and I have other people saying that they can hear now. So if you would refresh your screen, I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, because a couple of people are saying sound is fine. A lot of people are saying sound is fine. So I don't know, for the few of you guys that can't hear it, it may be that you're on delayed play too, though. So that might be what it is. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm like, okay, I'm just listening to the interview without y'all. I apologize. All right, I'll keep going.
Drunk, and he wasn't that drunk that night.
He wasn't.
So
okay, this was the night. It was 7:30 p.m. the night the incident occurred, and he says that he could tell by talking to George that he wasn't drunk, which means that she was probably the one that drank all the wine. Like I said before, guys, I saw one picture where George had a beer bottle on the table outside. I think beer was his preferred choice of drink. I just feel like he's drinking beer. Yeah, he's an alcoholic. He's drinking beer. He's not drinking wine. I don't know. It's just a thought.
When you're describing him as calm, that's an indication that he hadn't been drinking that much.
That he was that drunk. No.
Okay. So when he's been drinking, does he get really excited?
Sometimes he gets excited, and you can tell he like slurs his words, and and I can tell like he gets really emotional, and sometimes starts crying and.
Not that he gets angry and throws stuff or hits things. He gets emotional and starts crying. It's the opposite of Sarah.
None of that happened.
No, none of that.
What'd she say?
Really emotional.
None of that happened.
No, none of that.
Oh, she said none of that happened that night. Okay. So he wasn't emotional and crying that night.
Have you ever witnessed them physically fight?
I've seen them because I've been to their house and she's come out all crazy. I went over with my wife and they had called me to go over there. She had called me to go over there. Sarah had.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'll come over. That he wanted to see me, so I went over. And as soon as I get there, she comes out crazy because she had saw some guy peeing around the corner, and she was trying to fight the guy and argue with the guy. And my brother was like, "Yo, calm down, B."
It sounds like if she's outside fighting with people, she was drunk. That's what I'm picking up from that.
Just calm down. And it was like I went to that. That's why I would try to avoid everything. Like I would whenever he called me, I talked to him. I tried to talk to him, but it was always like they were always.
Did she physically touch George, or was she just getting really upset and
upset? Like she came out upset, but there's a person, I can't remember, somebody seen him because he was on a bike one day, and he told me, I can't remember the person it was because he was on a bicycle and she hit him with the car, and I can't remember who the person was.
See, that's where that, I don't know if you guys remember, but I previously brought up a witness that they had spoken to that worked at a car body shop. And I'd kind of thought that was linked to where Sarah had hit somebody on a bike, because this is the interview that it was mentioned. But it doesn't seem like he knows a whole lot about it, and I don't know if anything else has been said about it.
And he told me.
Okay. Have you ever seen any marks on George?
Yeah, around his neck, eye.
Like what kind of marks?
Like the time she hit him with the phone.
Okay.
He had a black eye, scratches all over his neck.
Would you see Sarah every time you saw George?
Off and on. Like if I would go over there, I would see her with him. And then sometimes if he ever came here, I would see him. Or sometimes when I would go over there, he would just come out and I wouldn't see her.
So you more saw your brother than Sarah?
I think it was equal.
Equal?
Because I've seen her. Sometimes she had marks and stuff. So
and what do you mean by marks?
Like bruises and stuff too. They used to beat each other.
And where would her bruises be?
I've seen on her arm, black eyes too.
Okay. Did George ever confide in you about their domestic problems? Like, did he ever tell you? Is there anything else that he's ever told you about him and Sarah? Any arguments? Any physical altercations?
No, he didn't really like to talk about it like that. Like everybody knew it. Right. Like they used to come here and fight and stuff. Okay. And my mom wouldn't like it and tell them to go.
Right.
I kind of feel like it's one of those, it's the family's elephant in the room that nobody talks about. They probably would get together a lot without George, unfortunately, because they didn't want Sarah to come.
And I know.
Well, wait, I know a lot of them lived at the address where his mom lived too, though. I know Moses lived there, and was his wife living there? But you guys, Juan is the brother, the one that we're listening to. He's the brother that has no arrest history. I think he has good. I think he's of good character, and I think that he is going to be a good witness for the prosecution. And I think the defense is going to find it difficult to make him look bad to the jury.
One day she came. It's been maybe like 2 months. My dad, because she always tried to hug everybody. Everybody didn't want to be hugging like that.
She's touchy again. That's the second person that said that.
She pushed my dad, and my dad fell.
Yeah.
So
she pushed the dad, and the dad fell. Now, this is an older man. Have you guys seen the picture of his mom? How old she is? His dad probably wasn't much younger, if not older. And I want to say they're in their 70s. Yeah, the report I pulled said that they were in their 70s. So she pushed his father down. So in other words, she was probably drinking again. I don't think she acts up when she's not drinking. I think she's pretty normal. I mean, she's still a narcissist, but she's normal. I think the prosecution is going to go in on that comment. I'm sure they've already questioned him in the deposition, wanting to know what happened there. Why did she push your dad? Was she drinking? Did she push him on accident? Because that could really be a damning thing to hear, that she pushed a 70-something-year-old man.
Would they always, would Sarah always be intoxicated when you saw her?
Most of the time.
And what about George?
There was times he was not, he had drank, but he wasn't like drunk. Like he would try to like eat and try to have her eat because it was always drinking so much. So he was like, we need to eat something. But
now, he said that about George wasn't eating. I think that happens a lot with alcoholics. They don't eat enough, and that's why you see a lot of skinny alcoholics. I guess it just depends on your body, but I know that in a previous video, I've noticed that in all of the documents that we've looked at one point in the summer of 2019, George weighed 120 pounds. And then when he went into jail because of their altercations, he was in there a while. And after he came out, right around the time he was going into court or something else had happened and they did another weight thing on him, he weighed 140 pounds. And my thought was that he wasn't drinking. He had been in jail. He wasn't drinking. He was out doing he was on road work assignment. He was still incarcerated, but they took him out and did this side of the road work. So he was muscling up a little bit, but also he was probably eating better since he wasn't drinking.
Did you, like a couple of years ago, did you and your brother have any kind of a falling out? Did you guys get into an argument, a fist fight, or anything?
No. See,
Has he gotten into a physical altercation with any of your brothers?
With Farrell, he did. The one that had the long hair.
The curly hair?
Yeah.
Okay. Farrell is the one that was arrested for stabbing his girlfriend, or his baby mama.
With him, but it was just...
How severe of a fight was this, though?
Not brothers.
Did he
Anybody go to the hospital?
No, nothing like that.
Anybody have bloodied lips, broken noses, anything like that?
Broken eye?
No. Oh, he had with my other brother too, with
Moses.
George had went
like bloodied lips, broken noses, anything like that?
Broken eye?
No. Oh, he had with my other brother too, with Mo. George had went to the hospital.
George went to the hospital.
Bloodied lips, broken noses, anything like that?
Broken eye?
No. Oh, he had with my other brother too, with Mo.
It's like my video is glitching. Moses, he part of the... That's funny, Ozzy.
George had went to the hospital.
George went to the...
She said they was drunk. They was at my Mo's house, at Moses' house. That's the other one.
Moses?
His name is Moses.
Is it last name Torrez?
Torrez.
Okay.
They had got into it because Sarah had came and said that George had beat her, and then they got into it. But I wasn't there that day. Moses he can tell you about that.
So we know that Moses is going to be called to the stand because at one point, well, I know we have a new defense attorney involved, but when Padilla was on the case as the attorney, they had depositioned Moses, but they had also sent him a subpoena to appear in court. So I feel like that was when that was 3 years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago, when they actually had a trial date coming up and was going to happen. But the fight was over Sarah. That's just crazy to me. Now, Moses has a charge of domestic violence with his wife, but I don't know what the circumstances are around it. I don't know if he was the one that caused it or if his wife caused it. I don't know.
But George did go to the hospital.
George went. George was in the hospital for that.
Do you remember what injuries he sustained?
Something in his eye socket.
The nose, maybe?
I think his nose too. but it had something was wrong with his like orbital. Yeah, the orbital.
That must be the surgery that Sarah mentioned.
All right. Is there anything else that you think is important for us to know about your brother or Sarah and their relationship? I'm assuming the 4-minute conversation, he was just kind of like, you guys were just talking at first.
At first, just talking. I would notice that he was okay. It wasn't a fight.
You said he was joking with your kids, and then you hear Sarah in the background,
and then that's when Sarah came.
And then you let him go, or he let you go.
Because he was like my niece and nephew that they can hear you, like. So I was like, he was like, all right, fine, then.
Okay.
How did she?
So he had George on speakerphone. Now, I wish they would have re-interviewed him here instead of using her language in it, but let him speak once again. But apparently when they first began talking with him before they were recording it, he had told her more about the conversation because she said something about a 4-minute conversation. He was talking to the nieces and nephews. I hate this detective.
How did she sound?
She sounded like crazy, like she always did. Like,
That's the second time he's called Sarah crazy. He said she was always acting crazy.
Like she was always like that, crazy. Like she would just start yelling.
She was the instigator.
Was she yelling any kind of threats or anything?
No, she was just saying about calling her brother.
I'm not a doctor, but from what I've known from the DV cases and whatnot, what I've seen is that usually a battered person is more quiet, scared to ruffle any feathers, scared to make any kind of bad moves that's going to upset the other one. Nothing in what we've heard about Sarah says that. Nothing shows to me that he was the dominant in the batter case. Sarah always started it. Sarah instigated it. And we've said it over and over again. I know you guys have said it in the comments. I've read it. We just think that he was the battered person in the relationship. She started the fights. She kept going. He would get triggered. He would fight back. She would call the cops. He would get arrested. He always looked. And listening to what the lady on Nancy Grace said, which I'm going to do that here shortly. The psychologist on Nancy Grace made a comment about how she felt that it was all premeditated, that Sarah had kind of planned this. And I don't know. I don't know if Sarah's that smart. To me, it was less planned as it was more, okay, Sarah's bored. She needs attention from somebody and she's not getting it from George. So let's call the cops. I just kind of picked that up on it.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you promise?
Today, we're going to listen to the interview with the manager of the apartment complex in which Sarah and George lived in since 2019. So for many years they were there. They actually managed to create themselves quite a reputation there at the Tillwood Park Apartments. Now, at the time that they were living there, it was called Tillwood Park Apartments. Since then, the apartment complex has new owners. So you may see some photos that I put up that say the Vista at Winter Park. It's the same property. Just wanted to get that out of the way in the up front. This is a really insightful interview. And I think if Sarah has just one person that she could call as a good witness for her, it is going to be this person. That doesn't mean that the prosecution can't get a hold of her and twist some things around or, whatever they need to do. But I probably see if Sarah continues on with this, I could see this lady being called by the defense. It doesn't give her name. I'm not going to get into all of that. It does seem like she became friends with Sarah. And when I first saw this, I was like, Sarah always talked about her apartment manager. She talked about her in the interview that she had at the police station. And I thought, and I even said on video at one point, yeah, she's nice to you because she has to be nice to you. That's kind of her job. But it does sound like this woman felt sorry for Sarah at first. And because she had had some experience with DV in the past, she tried to help Sarah for a little bit. She even went and spoke to George on Sarah's behalf at one point. But finally, she gave up on Sarah because she says that the same thing that Brian said was that even though Sarah claimed that she wanted to get away from George, she kept going back to him, or she kept bailing him out of jail. And honestly, that is not anything that they can really use Sarah in court. It's just me making a point that it does have a lot of the characteristics of a DV situation. But the problem is that we can't hear George's side of everything. And I will say that there are plenty of pieces put together here that are going to paint a bad enough picture of Sarah from what other people have said that kind of can hopefully speak for George in the trial. All right, we're talking about what this apartment manager brings up, you guys. They're talking about them out around the apartment complex and all the things that they're doing. She's talking about previous injuries she saw on Sarah. She said roughly, she goes, there's somewhere between 20 to 30 complaints against them. At one time she mentioned Sarah was outside, and she said, I'll just put it this way, she wasn't properly dressed. She didn't say naked. So I'm thinking what she meant is she was outside in her underwear. I don't know. Also, George walking into someone's apartment stone drunk one night, not realizing he was in the wrong apartment. Anyway, it's some good stuff. So let's get to it.
Today's date is February 26, 2020. The time now is approximately 12:05 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I'm currently located at Tealwood Park Apartments, 4704 Lucier Court, Winter Park, Florida, 32792. I am here with my partner, Detective Scott Long with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. And can you state your name?
Melissa May Sexton.
You are the property manager of this complex, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And we had come in here asking about the tenants, Sarah Boone and Jorge Torrez. And they have lived here. You gave us a date of February 9th, 2018?
Correct.
Okay. You had told us that Sarah would confide in you about her and George's relationship. Can you tell us further what she would tell you?
Yes. Sarah, shortly after she moved in with George, she came to the office to talk to me. We noticed bruises and stuff on her, and she asked me if she could talk to me privately and asked how she would be able to get George off of the lease. Is there any way to do that? Which prompted, deeper conversation. She proceeded to let me know and was showing me a lot of bruises and marks. There were handprints, scratches. She even at one point had to go to the hospital. Through multiple conversations that we had, it steadily progressed. She had a very large gash at one point in her shin. She had to go to the hospital and get that taken care of. I'm not exactly sure what it was from, but I think it had to do when they got into a fight outside and something got broke. I think it was one of their wine glasses or something. But, she came to me at one point asking, what do I do? Like, how can I get rid of him? I've never dealt with this type of situation. I just counsel her as she continued to come to me and explain to her that, she had to make a decision if she was going to stay with him or not be with him. If she, was going to try to work things out, they needed to seek out therapy, help, something. It wasn't too long after that last conversation that I found out the police had come and George was arrested. I don't remember about how long it was in between time, but there was another incident after that where they both got arrested, all for domestic. The complaints throughout their whole term, roughly about 20 to 30 noise complaints, fighting, arguing, banging on doors. loud music. It was just always something pertaining to their lifestyle. I do know that I have seen both of them intoxicated as early as 9 o'clock in the morning, and I mean staggering, falling down, intoxicated. Both of them. And there was a noise complaint that I had received about some fighting one day that was going on, and Sarah was actually wandering around the property very drunk, barefoot, not properly dressed, I'll say it like that, sitting on the side of her building over by the retention pond. When I was told about that is when I approached Sarah, sat down, talked to her. I even had also separately went and talked to George and told them that once they had sobered up, I needed to have a meeting with them. The following business day, because this was a Friday, I do remember that. I went to see them Monday, roughly about 12 o'clock. They were sober. They apparently had some epiphany, that they were going to straighten themselves up and start acting right. And they did very good for, well, basically until now. I haven't gotten any complaints since May of the past year, But up until that point, the complaints were consistent, monthly, always.
Would you ever speak with George by himself? Like, did he ever confide in you about their relationship?
The one time where, like I was just saying, that when I talked to her, she asked me to go talk to him. But she's like, please go put the fear of God in him. Fear of God in him. I'm a very stern property manager. I don't tolerate a whole lot of crap.
Right.
And she knew that. And she seemed scared of him at the time. So I said, sure, no problem. Just stay here. We'll go talk to him. I went over, sat down, talked to George. I talked to him for about 30 minutes altogether. And, George had explained to me that she was actually the aggressive one. And the reason she ended up with marks is, in my perception of what he was trying to explain is that she's very hands-on, in the face, dramatized and talking and explaining or fussing or whatever they might have been doing.
Right.
And I believe that because Jean, my assistant, doesn't even like to deal with her, would avoid her like the plague because she was always drunk and she's very hands-on. There was one day, as a matter of fact, it was that same day that I talked to George by himself. She kept grabbing me by the arms to the point that I told her, I said, if you touch me one more time, we're going to have a problem. I'm either going to contact the police or whatever we need to do, but you can't keep grabbing on me. I had asked her several times to quit touching me. And because of that, she would do the same thing to Jean, and Jean didn't like it.
Right.
So, that's what he was explaining to me, is she was always the touchy one, the aggressive one, not that she was hitting him, but she would be like in his face, or she might, push him, or, little things like that. And she would block him from coming out of the room or whatnot, and he would take her and move her. You know what I mean? And just, that's the way he had explained it to me.
Right.
She has told me, even literally to Monday, I have been told by her several occasions that he has drug her around by the hair of her head. I've been, told about by neighbors. I'm sorry I don't have it anymore, but at one point a tenant actually sent us a video clip via text of them two fighting and beating on each other out in the backyard. There was another complaint incident about a ladder being propped up to the wall that George was using to climb over the wall to try to get back into his apartment, sneaking in and out. There was another night, sorry, I forgot to tell you about this too. I got a call for one of my vacants in building 24, 4724, which is not their building. There was a tent set up on my vacant back porch. And it's apparently where George was sleeping for a couple of nights because she had him out of the house. I have another tenant here who may or may not speak to you, I'm not sure. For that reason, I don't want to give you her name just yet without talking to her, but George and her fighting a different evening had actually wandered into her home. He was so drunk and had no idea where he was. And when she came home, luckily her kids were not there because she's a single mother with 3 kids. George was actually upstairs in her house, hollering, looking for Sarah, thinking he was in his apartment. So we've had some incidences with them in that aspect, but nothing has ever been so bad that, I didn't feel that we could resolve the problem. And like I said, we haven't had any issues since May of last year. No complaints, no nothing until this. So we thought, hey, they're doing great. Maybe they fixed their problems. I mean,
Has she come to you since May of any issues?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not one time.
But then again, they were told you're going to be evicted if there are.
Yes.
So it's kind of like tighten up or get out.
Yeah, it was put up or shut up. I was over it.
Yeah.
If it continued, I was putting them out.
Right.
So.
Did you ever see any marks on George?
No. Not one. Not one. George was a little bit darker skinned.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Would you see George as often as you saw Sarah? It sounds
No.
like Sarah came to you a lot more
Yes.
than
We would always see Sarah. As far as the only time I ever really saw George is the time when we actually got George to sign off the lease.
Right.
And he came to me and said, I can't get back in the house. She's got all my personal paperwork because would you please have a conversation with her so that I can get my personal paperwork back from her? He goes, do you have a set of bolt cutters for my bicycle that's out back? And I said, what's it chained to, And he said, it's actually chained to your AC unit. I said, yeah, no problem. I'll cut the lock for you to attach to my AC unit. It's not supposed to be attached to that.
Right.
So I went out back and actually cut the lock on both of the bike locks because Sarah would not answer the door for me because she knew George was there.
Okay.
Once George was gone, she had actually, because Sarah had my cell phone number, being that I had already went through and just got out of a very abusive relationship, Sarah knew that because, I confided in her and explained that. She did feel a lot more comfortable in coming to me. So I told her if she ever needed someone, or it was an emergency, she could reach out to me and I would do what I could to help her. I felt bad for her. But after a while, when she just kept taking him back, I just told her, I said, you're just going to have to call the authorities on your own. It's obvious you don't want it to stop. He's not doing anything to get help according to you. Can you just keep dealing with it? I mean, there comes a point where it's just stupidity. But that's the run-ins and incidences that I've had with him. I've never seen a mark on George, and he's never told me that she's hit her at all.
Okay.
But she has told me in front of him that he has hit her and things that he's done, and he was not denying it. He never denied it. So George and her both expressed to me on many occasions that they knew they needed help. But I'm guessing due to their financial situation, not having any work, probably why they didn't do much.
Right.
When you saw them together, who looked to be like more dominant? I mean, did one seem to be more dominant over the other?
George was very confident. He wasn't arrogant or anything. He, for the most part, stayed to himself. Like I said, there are a couple people here that he knew, from, I would say, another life from Philadelphia. And, George was the one I always seen driving the vehicle. George is the one I always seen playing with the child. Never saw Sarah outside playing with her kid, ever. As a matter of fact, most of the time, Lucas, you would find him riding around the property on his bike, unattended. No parents outside, no nothing. Because I had actually had a conversation with Sarah about that. And I said, the kid was a great kid, don't get me wrong, he never did anything to get me in trouble, but it was more my concern for his well-being. When he's all the way riding over here and around some of these corners with the dumpsters, these people don't see nobody, and they sure ain't gonna see no kid outside. So I had a conversation with her about that, and we haven't had any really problems. I can say I've only seen Lucas on his bike away from her like that twice. She actually had secluded him to stay in front of the building, which was fine. I just didn't want him to live here. But yeah, you didn't see Sarah out at all. The only time I ever saw her, especially after the incident took place with Emmett and his ex-girlfriend, it was more like a confrontation that took place in the office. She made an accusation on Emmett saying that he was trying to forcefully, I don't want to say rape, but he was trying to push himself on her.
On Sarah?
On Sarah. She made that claim.
Some tenant?
Another tenant that knew George from Philly. And they confronted the two of them. I will say Sarah held her ground when the girl confronted her and asked her and said, don't lie to my face. And Sarah said, yeah, he did. So I was surprised because she knew that girl was but and she's larger than me. So, you know, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, well, maybe there's some truth to that. But it ended up, you know, just fizzling out. It was no big deal. After that situation took place, you really didn't see Sarah too much. She was pretty intimidated. Those two folks are actually a pretty large family that I have living here on site that actually took up 4 units at that time. So the whole family lived here. You know, it's a little intimidating. So after that, we really didn't see a whole lot of her.
But before that, they would hang out periodically.
The other two families, no, they just knew each other from back in the day.
Oh, the couple did?
The kids did.
The kids?
Yes, that's what initially prompted it, and then that accusation was made during that same time.
Okay.
So, and when it comes to the kids on my property, I stay very involved with them. Yeah. We have some issues with our bus routes and all kinds of stuff, and we had some kid vandalism being done, broken glass bottles. They were pulling glass bottles out of the trash, breaking them, thought it was fun. And one kid told on another, then the parents got involved. It became a little bit of an issue, so I had to get in the middle to squash it, you know. I didn't want anybody fighting on the property or kids getting hurt for that matter. But that's it.
Is there anything else that you think is important for us to know about Sarah or George that we haven't discussed?
I mean, no, I don't. Nothing really. Her nickname's Drunky the Bear. I mean, you know, literally. We know they drank from sunup to sundown.
Would she ever, I know she confided in you a lot. Would she ever admit that she was an alcoholic to you?
Yeah.
She would?
Yes. Okay. I wish I still have my text messages. I sent it to me on text. I know we drink too much and blah, blah, blah. You know, and she told me that George, one time, had enrolled in AA and was getting help. Now, brother, that was any truth. I have no idea. A lot of stuff like that I just take with a grain of salt.
Right.
You know, I think she was more concerned about the image that was being put in my head for them, and I think she was just trying to paint a prettier picture.
Right.
Because I will say, it was like a week later, she was drunk. And when we go, you know, inspecting the property and walking around different projects, we do a lot of pressure washing throughout the year. We do that a couple of times. You know, I ride around the back sides of the buildings, checking everything out. We've got a property drainage system back there. You always knew, as you'd ride back there and you'd hear, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, they're drunk, falling down, cutting up. My God, I can't imagine you being drunk like that all the time. Jeez.
Okay. Can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes.
Promise and swear.
Okay. So that's all the interviews that we have that are unredacted. Let me look one more thing over here at my notes here of the time thing. I think that's everything I got right now. I need to go work on some more clips for you guys. I need to get some emojis up that have Sarah Boone on them. What else? Oh, thank you so much. I missed a super chat. Hang on. Sup, Rosa? Thank you, Mama. Very nice of you. Great live stream as always. Very nice of you. Thank you for everyone who became a member today. Thank you for Kate for gifting a membership. And Catherine for your super sticker. Mandy Strong for your super sticker. Loba Volcana for your super sticker. JSS, aka the Cat Lady, super sticker. Debbie for your membership. Jeannie for your super sticker and membership. Lady Lex. Gentai came in a member. I know you've been around and you were a member at one point, weren't you? Jennifer Adams, thank you for your comment, super chat. Mary Jo Freilich, thank you for your super chat. Pumpkin Porter, thank you for your super chat and becoming a member. And thank you, as always, Tabitha, for gifting 5 memberships. Michael and Aaron, thank you also for your super chats today. You guys have been amazing the last couple of days. I don't know what happened. Oh my gosh, Abella's just gifted 5 memberships. That's so nice of you. Guys, y'all are amazing. Thank you so much. And I know that everybody appreciates it. I have people every now and then will come to me and say, Carrie, I love your channel, but I can't afford a membership times are hard, and I totally get that. And if that's the case for you, don't worry about a super chat. Don't worry about a membership or anything like that. Just watch the stream, hit the like button, share it on your social media. That's a huge way to help the channel grow. And I don't look down upon anybody that can't do that. That's okay. If you can, that's awesome. If you can't, don't worry about it. It's not going to change the way I view any of my peeps here. So I just want to thank y'all for being here with me for so long. My gosh, y'all, we've been on for 4 hours. Why am I doing this to myself, knowing I'm going to be hooked to my computer all day, every day for the next 3 weeks, starting Monday? So with that being said, I think we're going to take a break. I think y'all need a break. Let's take a nice little Sarah Boone break. I'll probably put out some more tomorrow. And I might put something out on Sunday. If I can get something pre-recorded, I'll drop it on Sunday. So thank you all for being here. Say hello, and thank you to Bama and Interesting Captures, Laura, and Mel in the chat for taking care of us all today so kindly. We appreciate you guys so much. Y'all have a blessed evening and stay safe.